Hello, and welcome back to another Cabincast Ramble about Steven Universe with Oliver and Tan.
Hello.
It is us, and we are here to talk about Steven Universe. You know that already.
It's a ramble.
It is a ramble. That's all we do. Sometimes we talk about multiple episodes. Sometimes we talk about one for a really long time. Who knows what
Yep.
you'll get today? We are starting with the episode Story for Steven, which is episode number 49
Yep.
of the show. And it's one of our last episodes before the kind of finale.
Of season 1.
Yeah, in fact, it kind of is. It's just political powers thrown in there for reasons.
Political powers. I guess kind of part of it, though I don't know.
I don't directly remember. I don't think it particularly is too much, but it sort of is. But it's more the fact that the message happens and the return isn't immediately after, so other things would happen in the meantime, I suppose. But this is the last story before they like properly get into the kind of the big kind of run up to the finale, in the very least. And yeah.
So considering the way that a lot of the episodes were in, as we found out a couple of episodes ago, like in different orders, they were broadcast in different orders. I wonder whether this episode would have like worked better as something after Jailbreak rather than before.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so looking at the release order, they are pretty much in order. 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. Obviously, Say Uncle's 56, but it's non-canon anyway, so it does not matter.
If you look at like the original air dates, sometimes they're a bit weird.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting actually. So Story for Steven was April 9th, 2015. Yeah, you're right. So Rosa Scabbard, March 9th.
Right.
The Message, March 10th.
Oh.
Political Power, March 11th. The Return and Jailbreak, both March 12th.
So it was after.
And then Open Book, March 19th. And then Say Uncle, April 2nd. And April 9th is Story for Steven.
What about Full Disclosure?
Full Disclosure's March 13th.
Okay, it is after. Okay. Well, I suppose that's fine then.
So yeah, so they do Full Disclosure and Joyride, both in March, and then it doubles back to, well, Say Uncle, Story for Steven, Rosa Scab. No, wait. Say Uncle, Story for Steven, Shirt Club. They all did actually after the finale of season 1 came out.
I see. I think,
but before Love Letters in season 2 comes out, which is interesting.
That is interesting. I mean, on the one hand, I like the idea that season 1 ends where the only time you see Rose is in that video recording. And then after that, we get the flashbacks. But on the other hand, I don't know if we could go back to Shirt Club after a spaceship has crashed into Beach City. That's kind of a weird one.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'll be interested to see why it wound up this way.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, so yes, today we are talking about Story for Steven, and maybe others.
This is like the first of a series of episodes, which are scattered throughout the whole like series, in which Greg begins a flashback to him and Rose with a song.
Yeah, and I really like this one.
Yeah, I like it a lot as well.
It's a great song. So great it becomes a burger jingle and makes him
It
rich,
does. It does.
which is also amazing. But yeah, so we
Who'd have
start the
thought
episode.
that that was the song that would
Yeah,
have made him rich?
and that's often the way, isn't it? I mean,
Mm.
I think. I mean, sometimes you have a really good song and it does really well, but sometimes I can't think of specific examples, but often there's like people who have like one hit wonders or a couple of hits, and it's songs that they make ironically or things like that, and those are the
Hey, I mean,
songs that.
I could point to myself on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Indeed.
terrible songs from 2016 were the only ones that got popular off me. Grumble,
Yes.
grumble. But it's a good song, Comet. It's about
Yeah.
like, you know, the life of a rock star, even though it's shown that he only has one person attend the concert.
Yeah. It's
Um,
interesting because it's his, it's his like one of his opening songs about being a rock star, but it's kind of a song you expect someone to maybe write towards the middle or the end of their career, not to be your breakout song. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know how much touring he's done with Marty before then, but it does seem like early days.
seems like early days. So yeah, how we get to this point actually before we get to the song is Stephen and Greg are in the van. It's raining. It seems very cozy.
Yeah.
Um, it's playing guitar, vibing, all that kind of stuff. And Stephen sees a picture of Greg
Yes.
and some guy who looks vaguely like sour cream, you might say.
Hmm. Hmm. I wonder.
Which it took me too many rewatches of Steven Universe to click over. Um, oh wait, no, it didn't because it's just full on stated later on that it took me a while after watching this episode before it just flat out comes and says it, realizing that Vidalia's still Vidalia and you're just being dumb. Um, but yeah,
It's kind of implied that Greg has told Stephen this story before, but like not with Marty.
yes, he's told them the story of how they've met, at least to some extent before, but without the guy who was dead to him.
But I don't know why he'd have explain the whole picture. That's
Yeah,
not something I'd expect, but
yeah. So yeah, that was Marty was his manager. It's clear that they had a falling out,
yeah, whew.
to say the least.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I
he's in
like
the.
how when it transitions to the flashback,
Mm-hmm.
he's playing on his little acoustic guitar, and then the same riff that he plays goes on to the electric
The
guitar from
electric,
his
yeah,
rock
it's
days.
so good. It's so good.
That's very good. Because I mean, he still has an electric guitar. We see that
He
in the
does.
next episode.
Yeah.
He just is using this one. It's like,
Hmm.
I don't know. It's cozy and
It's
fatherly.
yeah, it's good. And then when you get the actual the song is very uh either 70s or 80s rock. I'm not entirely sure,
I get what
but
you mean.
it's very in the style and the even though he's performing it on stage, the kind of music video-ness of it is also very kind of rocky.
Yeah, he's kind of lost in his own world
Yeah,
when he's
he is.
playing
He's
because
in the zone.
he can't, he's not looking at the crowd, well, the
No.
non-existent crowd.
Yeah.
Although I like how some of the lyrics are like, as my albums fly off of the
Well,
shelf.
exactly. thousands of voices are calling my name.
It's a little bit of an overstatement there, but you know,
A little
I'm sure.
bit. That's kind of what I mean about it seeming a bit more like a song you make once you've made it,
Yes,
reflecting on how things have been.
it's like I don't know, "Time of Our Lives" by ELO or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is a very good one. I like his analogy to a comet
Mm-hmm.
because a comet, you know, in real life, it'll pass by the sun,
Yeah.
creating a great spectacle
Mm-hmm.
for a short amount of time, and then it leaves for a very, very, very long time. And
Yeah.
it's it. It's like a 15 minutes of fame sort of thing.
Indeed. It's a good analogy.
It's the rock star lifestyle, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But turns out there is one person at his show.
There is one person at his show. I do also like that he's got the banner that says Mr. Universe.
Oh yeah.
But in his song, when he starts the chorus, it comes up like it's a big neon sign. It's just like, bam, Mr. Universe. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, it's just a banner. Still cool. But yeah, there is one person in the stands, and they look strange.
It's Rose Quartz.
It is Rose.
And you know, Greg, ever the charmer, kind of just sort of like still sort of acts that sort of professional, you know. He's
He
like,
does.
oh, you know, if anyone wants to go buy our merch, then
Yeah.
you know, Marty will be there. Oh wait, no. Just me.
He's not
It's
there. It's
just
just
me.
me. Never mind. I'll go over there myself.
Marty's currently doing things in his van with the onion lady.
Yes, they are just sitting in the van until
Sitting,
they
yes.
come out of the van.
They are sitting.
Um, yes. Yeah, that's all that's going on.
That's all that's going on.
Um,
You can see when Rose and Greg talk,
mm-hmm.
you know, Rose, you can see is not is not exactly understanding of the idea of like a metaphor,
Yes.
which is ironic considering that's what Greg metaphor. Oh, 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 that's so bad.
Yeah, that was awful, but kind of clever. Yeah. The album art on Space Train to the Cosmos is
It's funny.
it's cute. It's the kind of thing you'd think of being on like a book for 3-year-olds. Um, it's not quite the
Interestingly,
same level of artwork as the Water Witch one, which is super
not
cool
quite.
that we get later.
He's grown as an artist since then.
Yeah.
Interestingly, one of the first when Rose talks to Greg about like Space Train to the Cosmos, she talks about
How
how
will he get back?
Greg would want to go back because this is his home,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting because
She
Pink
can never go
Diamond
back.
does not want to go home.
No.
Emphatically does not want to go back to Homeworld.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So presumably she considers this her home.
Indeed.
Maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe she's also a no home boy.
I know, homeboy. I think she considers this her home.
I mean, this is where the sort of fictionalized Rose Quartz was made.
Yes. Yeah, this is for sure. This is Rose Quartz's home, if
Yeah,
nothing else. So yeah, he gives her the CD and gives her a T-shirt, but he needs to find a bigger one
because she's
because
a
she's a large lady.
large lady of 8 feet.
Yeah. um, and goes to the
van.
the van. And if this was a show made for older people than this age, then Vidalia and Marty wouldn't just be immediately ready to step out of the van, but again, they were just sitting there.
The van would be a rockin' while
It,
Greg's out there a rockin'.
yeah.
But it's not, so it's okay. Nothing
So
happened.
he opens the door and they're both just right there, like, and we go. Here
Yeah,
we are.
they were ready for him.
It's like, and it's Vidalia.
Yeah, same one. I don't know how
It's
much we've seen
Vidalia.
of Vidalia in the series so far.
What have we seen so far? Did we have the
Do we have the one where she Amethyst and Vidalia meet?
That's what I'm thinking.
I do not know.
I think we did. I'm pretty sure we've seen her once.
It's not quite the reveal, if not, but
Exactly. We've definitely met her. I'm 99% sure.
oh, Onion Friend is season 2. Okay, we might
Onion
not have
Friend
met her.
is season 2.
Never mind.
But that's the one where they go round again, right?
It might be. Well, I'm not sure if we've seen her before.
That's I could have sworn we. I'll look it up.
Regardless, Vidalia is this kind of rebellious figure. I'm not quite sure how Marty hooked up with her in that sense. Although he says he was at a party later, so I guess that might be it. Not quite sure what kind of parties there are in Beach City.
It was a different time.
It's different time. Back in the 80s, probably.
Yeah. I mean, and speaking of which, I mean, I don't know if Marty comes back, but in theory, this would like surely be about the time where she would have to get pregnant with sour cream, right?
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Because
Oh, and
like
Marty just left.
Marty just
Gosh.
leaves.
That's
Yeah.
not a good sign.
No, he's not unless I could be misremembering that, but that's at this
It
point what I reckon.
it
And
might be.
apparently a story for Stephen is the first time we see her.
Because I think
Um,
when Greg's babysitting sour cream, that will have not only been like a year, like 10 months a year after. So it may well be.
hmm.
It may well be that that was when.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Possibly.
Possibly.
We'll see when we get to Greg the babysitter and
Yeah.
stuff, because it might seem that she seems actually quite a bit older and maybe Marty came back or something. But anywho, back to the episode. Yeah, so Vidalia, which is a type of onion I discovered as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Marty kind of chastises Greg for trying to give away items for free.
yes.
Which, I guess
Yeah.
he would do as a manager.
Yeah. It's like one person showed up. Kind of like what I feel like when we look at our downloads, we're like, someone downloaded our podcast. Though more people do that. I still don't understand why, but they do it, so
Hey, I mean,
that's
it's a
neat.
good thing. I wonder how popular these episodes are.
Yeah.
Who
But
knows?
yeah, don't give away much.
Don't. Well, I don't know. Rose didn't have the concept of money, so maybe
No.
I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But Rose is gone when he tries to give it to her.
Mm-hmm. And also, Marty is making 75%.
75%. That is a large
Which
percentage.
is ridiculous considering he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's music industry. it's not always great,
No, that's for sure.
unfortunately. But
Yeah,
yeah.
Rose is
Also,
gone.
I've just
Oh, did you see
spotted
something?
something. Yes. So, Marty says, he's gonna he's gonna make them both rich. Um, and as far as everyone here knows, they already are.
Oh, they're
Which
sort of pretending to.
I'm not sure if Greg is necessarily pretending more than he just wants to believe that. But Marty is definitely pretending, and I don't want to suggest that Vidalia is potentially that shallow, but
Oh,
you know
that wouldn't. That wouldn't be ideal.
the if it is, hey, I have a lot of money. I work for this cool rock star guy, given her look and everything. That could be appealing.
Mm,
I also have
well, I
no
guess.
idea how old Marty's meant to be because he looks old here,
It's what being
but
rich or
I don't know if
pretending to be
he's
rich
yeah,
does.
true, true. But I don't know if it's just like that's his hair color because I don't know he dyed it to look old or something.
We don't know that much about Marty, and I
We
guess we don't
don't.
need to know that much
We
about
don't.
Marty because he's just a bit of a sleazebag.
He is. That's who he is pretty much in a nutshell.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. And yeah.
but we do later see that Vidalia and Greg, they've changed as people.
Yeah,
And
they have.
Marty, well, we'll
Marty.
see later, won't we?
Yeah, we'll come back to him down the road. So he heads off with Vidalia and is like, next stop, Empire City.
Indeed.
Another hint towards a great episode that takes place in Empire City.
We're
But
not
we're not
quite
there
there
yet.
yet.
And he goes exploring to try and find Rose.
Well, I guess he immediately finds the fence
It's pretty
where,
much right next to where he was performing. So.
yeah, that's like the first. That seems to be the first place he looks. It's pretty magic. That's the power of soulmates or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, based on what we see, or what I remember from like the Beach of Palooza and stuff,
Oh yeah.
it's always on the beach.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't know. I guess he just decides to walk along the beach first and sees the fence
Yeah.
and a purple owl.
And a purple owl. In a sort of in jest, he kind of asks the owl, and
Yeah.
the owl turns out to be Amethyst. Responds.
Yeah. Which he accepts pretty quickly, luckily.
They're the sort of things you might just go like, oh, I guess that's this sort of place, huh?
Pretty much.
Amethyst is, well, she's Amethyst.
She's
She
still
says, if I
amethyst.
told you, I'd have to kill you.
Oh, oh. Flies away.
Yeah, yep.
But Greg chases after in pursuit because he really needs to give her this T-shirt.
That's
Not
the
for
most
any other
important
reason.
thing. Yeah, nothing
Um,
else.
and yeah, follows her into a cave. There's no house here yet,
Yep.
and we see Pearl again, very 80s with these like leg warmers and leg
Yeah,
warmers.
Pearl kind of, in some ways, looks like a slightly more childlike version of herself.
Sure. Which they all do. At
They
this
all
point.
do. Yeah, to some extent. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, Amethyst definitely does. She's got the kind of like
for sure.
little like dress thing. I don't really know what to call it, but it's yeah. And her hairstyle and everything, and she like
Yeah.
crawls around and stuff.
Yeah, she likes Greg's hair, and that's kind of where she gets her inspiration from for
Yeah.
her own. And for her style. She's got the ripped trousers and
That's
the
true. Yeah.
no sleeves for the longest part. She's very inspired by Greg.
She is. Maybe she did have a thing for Greg the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. Garnet's got a rounded visor as
He
well,
does.
which is I don't know how 80s that is, but I like how she's just almost exactly the same. Gamethyst?
Amethyst flip. Garnet is just 80s. It just straight up all the time, I think.
Yeah.
Like her outfit and like the big glasses and the hair. I mean, I could be completely mistaken with it, but it all seems very 80s to me. Um, so yeah, it's like slightly different, but it's still very, very similar.
Yeah. A bit like Estelle, I guess.
Mm. That would make sense.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, she
But
has some fabulous hair.
I mean, the gems at this point, they're not too dissimilar to how they are now, where they're sort of
Hmm.
cautious of humans sort of interacting with them too much.
Yeah.
Obviously, now sort of Stephen is bringing them closer to the
Hmm.
humans and the townies. But
Yeah.
at that point in time, they were very much, they're like the protectors, but
Hmm.
they also don't want them to get involved at all.
They were the lone protectors.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, you've got
Except Rose.
the amethyst. You've got amethyst who still doesn't really get it. And just like, hey, it's a cool human. He's got big hair. Nice.
Yeah.
And you've got Pearl, who's like, what? No, that can't be. And Garnet, who's like, what is your purpose? And they're trying to figure out how to make him go away. At which point Garnet does what Garnet does, which is use force. Um, so she picks him up and begins to lift him to throw him over the fence. While Pearl is like, yep, humans should stay over there, and we can be on this side, and that'll be all good. While she's just kind of carrying Amethyst, who's just chilling. And then Rose shows up.
Yeah, Rose is more friendly towards humans.
Mm-hmm. She is.
She
It
had
seems
been in
she's
several relationships with humans prior to then.
yes, which is something that would be interesting to know more about.
Yeah, I think that was in Mr. Universe Revealed. I can't quite remember.
Yes, yeah, it is the fusing one, right?
Um, I mean the one in Empire City, in Pearl's song.
Yes,
Talks
also
about yes,
correct.
yes.
Yes,
She
no,
talks
you're
about how
right. I was fine with the men who would come into your life now and again.
yes, exactly.
Yes. I don't know that song by heart. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, but I think I have a feeling also in the episode where it's another flashback and they're talking about fusion that he asks if she's like been with other people before or like had relationships with other people, and she says yes, but I could be mixing things around there.
I'm
But
not entirely sure.
at the very least, yeah, the Pearl song is for sure confirms this. So yeah, she's a lot more outgoing
That's
than
for
the
sure.
others. But I mean, it's not a planet. So
And he gives Rose the shirt,
he
and
does.
um, she tells the rest about him and how
Hmm.
he's a rock star,
Yeah.
and they want to hear his songs,
Hmm.
although in a slightly more, all right, this better be good or we're kicking you out
Yeah.
kind of way. But
Yeah.
Greg is realizes he has to go
Hmm.
get back to the van, and because he's got to go to Empire City.
Yeah.
Then we can see Pearl's like the first little bit where Pearl's like, "Oh, hold on a second, Rose.
Hmm.
I can sing as well."
Yeah.
a little sort of slight envy there at the
Yeah.
attention from Rose.
Yeah, we already get like when he's talking when she's like, "Oh, his gimmick space," and Pearl is like sniggering. So it's like, "Ha, the fool! We have
We're
space.
all about
What's
space.
he on about?" And what time is it? Night.
Yeah, they don't know about everything he tells them about like human things, like dropping out of community college. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
we have no idea what you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, go off, I guess.
Yeah. And yeah, he says goodbye and stuff, and Ildy looks unsure about what he's doing, and like he doesn't really want to go. And
Yeah,
Pearl just looks very jealous already. She
I
is in like
guess
a pouty face, like,
with the crystal gem emblem being a star, I guess you
yeah.
could say Greg was starstruck.
You could say that.
Yeah,
Wow, Pam, you're on a roll today, aren't you?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
They get back to the van.
Yeah. So yeah, they start heading off to Empire City, and Marty's like, "Oh, tomorrow's gonna be great. It's gonna be fame and all this stuff."
Yeah,
And
we see Marty being a bit of a misogynist of
just a little bit,
yeah.
and also being very mean to Greg's van,
Yes, that too,
which is Greg's van.
which is Greg's van.
Um, and
And
then
we
he
can
says,
see
"Buy
Greg's
something."
you know, he's got more of a kind heart, you know, with his like
Yeah.
retort back to Marty. But Marty kind of lets slip the truth that he doesn't really care
Mm-hmm.
about Greg or his feelings or anything about that. He
Yeah.
just wants the money. And Greg's kind of had enough of that because he wants to. The whole thing that we see later,
Mm-hmm.
a lot later, I mean, an incredibly lot later in the episode
Yeah.
in future, the
Mm-hmm.
one before Fragments. I think it might actually just be called Mr. Universe. I can't remember. But Greg's thing was that he was like unsure because
Yeah.
he was in a home in which everything was strictly controlled and he
Mm-hmm.
didn't have any choice, and he listened to the song Mr. Universe
Yeah.
by Carrie Moonbeam,
Yeah.
and he was like, oh, I can do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many opportunities out there for me. And so he gets a manager, presumably, and the manager is saying, you have to do what I tell you.
Yeah.
You don't matter. And Greg doesn't take kindly to that because that's the whole reason he's doing this.
Yeah.
And so it's natural that he would kick Marty out of his van after he almost crashes it.
Almost crushes it.
Yeah. Slightly reminiscent of the later scene in that one, but never mind.
Mm-hmm.
Almost crashing a van. Huh. Anyway.
Yeah. He drives back. He crashes through the fence.
Yes, he breaks through their barrier that they've
Right
put
through
up
the fence.
between them and the human world.
Yeah.
It's symbolic.
Symbolic.
Bum, bum, bum.
Very cool.
But they're not there at the moment.
No,
They're
so
in
he
their
plays
rooms.
his Destiny song.
Yeah, which Marty doesn't think is basically doesn't think it's marketable.
Yeah.
It's like singing a slow ballad at Eurovision or
Yeah.
something. It's like,
Which
people
again,
gonna remember this one?
and again, it's a diamond of the music industry.
Yeah, that's just sort of that's how it goes a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best songs are just not.
If we can't sell this to people, then it doesn't matter how good it is. They don't
Yeah,
want it, which is
reminds me of like the film Yesterday, if you've seen it. the one with the beetles and
I
isekai beetles.
really enjoyed that film.
That was a good film.
We need to talk about that as well. It's
but
a very cool film. Yeah, how
but
they rename all the songs and like Hey
yeah,
Dude and all. Yeah.
yeah, to make them more. God, that was a good film.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, yeah, we're sidetracked. Yeah, he sings
it's
this
a
song about what
it's a
they're
good
doing there and stuff.
it's a good song. Especially the sort of the lyrics
Yeah.
to it,
Mm-hmm.
where it's do you believe in fantasy? How can't I when it's right in front of me?
Yeah.
Um, he's these things. The crystal gems are very much odd.
Yes, they are fantastical creatures, you could say.
Yeah, they're not. A lot of the time, the show sort of portrays them as normal because we're in Steven's perspective, but at that time they were not.
No, they were not.
And Rose comes out of her room
She does, wearing the shirt.
originally, yeah, wearing the shirt. She asks him to leave because she doesn't want to like be a burden on his
Mm-hmm.
huge future career as a rock
Yeah,
star, which is definitely going to happen.
I do love how she starts with "You're awfully cute."
Yeah, it's a little bit sort of like that is kind of her. She still kind of sees humans as not quite equal.
Yeah, like
She views
you're.
Greg the same way we'd view like a dog or something.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Hmm.
I mean,
Because
you
it's
know,
kind of that. It's not exactly that because. But yeah, no, you're awfully cute, and I really do want to play with you, is what she says.
yeah. I mean, out of context, it's like, oh, that's just a normal thing. But when
Yeah,
we
given the
consider
context, it's
everything that Rose Quartz has been saying to Greg, especially in like We Need to Talk, for example,
yeah.
it does feel a little bit like that.
Hmm.
And like how White Diamond,
Yeah.
when in Change Your Mind, is like, oh, you brought one of your little pets along with you, because
Hmm.
that's kind of the viewpoint.
Yes.
But she says he should pursue his dreams, and he says that she is his dreams, and we finally get the first starry
Starry
eyes.
eyes. So good.
Yes. And before it cuts to back to the present,
Hmm.
you see a teardrop fall into the water in the
Yeah.
temple. And I don't know whose it is.
Hmm.
And I don't know quite what it means. But
Huh. Yeah. I. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, I was like, it's like it's a bit of a mystery for me.
What? What? Yeah. What's?
Is it Pearl?
I don't know.
Me neither. I don't know. I think it could symbolize an awful lot of things. It could be like Pearl. Maybe she's crying because she realizes that Rose might have fallen in love with someone else.
Yeah.
But then
I
there are
don't.
tears of every sort in Steven Universe, the show.
Hmm.
Tears can represent almost any emotion, and it might be from Rose laughing about how she sort of found someone or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's.
Or it might be a tear of like leaving his old life behind, Greg doing that. I don't know.
Yeah, the synopsis just says stunned, Rose becomes starry-eyed and begins to laugh as a tear falls.
And I do not know.
I do not know whose tear it is.
It's interesting.
Mm.
And
Hmm.
that's just
what it is.
that's just what it is indeed.
So, yeah, we cut back to the future.
Yes. Interestingly, it's sort of like how the sort of, I guess the message there is that like even you can be grateful for even the worst people in your life because they gave you an opportunity to change.
Yeah.
Marty is a terrible person,
He was.
but without him, Greg wouldn't have wanted to leave
It would not have been as easy
his
for him to
lifestyle.
stay. Yeah.
And obviously that doesn't count for every terrible person.
No, it's not something that should always be the case.
I'm not going to go like, oh well, I'm glad. Boy, am I glad we had Hitler, because without him, we wouldn't have defeated fascism. That's terrible. Don't take that out of context.
No. But
Or
yeah,
like an abuser or something. It's not doesn't work that way. But
no.
sometimes it can be like that.
Yeah. When it's something like this, because Greg wasn't particularly suffering really because of Marty. Like Marty was not good, but it's not the same as he was. Yeah, like suffering or anything, because that's a different.
I mean, he could have suffered if he'd stayed for too
But he
long,
could
but
have done for
he didn't.
sure. He didn't.
He got out.
He got out, and so yeah, he puts up the picture of him and Marty next to the reframed one from Amethyst he got in the
Yeah, and
uh,
another picture which I
maximum capacity. Another
don't
picture
remember.
which we just see the edge of it, and it's got Steven in it.
Which would make sense. Is
Yeah.
they are all sort of significant relationships in
Mhm.
Greg's life, even if not for the
Yeah.
same reasons.
Yeah. Oh, it's him with the cat fingers. Okay.
Oh right, that's an odd one.
It is. But it's certainly an interesting picture.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
that
how long did we spend on that episode?
I think about 40 odd minutes.
Oh boy.
So yeah.
The message is the next one.
It is.
Do you think you have time for it?
I think we shall make a try.
I suppose we could talk a little bit more about the message in the next one if necessary.
Exactly. If we need to cut it in two, come back to it, we can do that, but we'll give it a start and we'll see how far we get.
Yeah. The message is good. As a
Yeah.
musician and fellow audio file,
Yes.
I just like it. There's
Mhm.
all that
Mhm.
sort of there's a lot of audio stuff in this.
Yes.
And we see the electric guitar that Greg has. And now Stephen doesn't actually know how it works, that it need to plug it in. That's sort of the big part of it.
Yeah, another
But
classic Steven moment.
firstly, we sort of talk about Greg's album, which he's writing,
Yeah.
and the sort of the feedback from Stephen, which was inspired by Ocean Gem and Lapis and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cute how Stephen's like, oh no, Lapis isn't a villain. You gotta portray it like this, and then he just sings exactly the story. It's quite amusing.
I mean, it's he's a great songwriter as well.
He is.
Like, obviously, they sing songs that are not in universe. Like, they sing musical-esque songs, and they also sing songs.
Yes.
And this is one of those instances of being in universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and we get the cool Water Witch album,
Yeah,
which is cool.
it is cool.
It is cool.
I imagine it would have been a good album even if Greg had carried on with his original lyrics. But Greg's still writing the song with his acoustic guitar instead of
He
the
is.
electric one he's got. So
Yes.
I guess he's matured in that sense.
And he says, you plugged into the video jack.
Oh, foreshadowing.
Yeah. And don't you know video killed the audio star? So,
Stephen has no idea what he's
no
talking
idea that that's alternate reality pop culture reference.
a little bit.
Video killed the radio star, even though it didn't. Radio is still going much stronger than I think anyone ever anticipated.
I guess so.
Yeah. Obviously, it's nowhere near as big as TV these days, but I think when video first came out, people were like, "Well, guess that's it for radio then," and that didn't happen. So, yeah. Anyway, back to the episode.
So Greg talks about how he's, especially after Marty left, he was just a single guy making all the music, and he says how he's got to write, he's got to play the songs, he's got to draw the album covers, he's got to moderate the forums, which apparently he had. And given that he started out in the 80s, as we saw in the last episode, and he had to do forum moderation, that would presumably mean that he continued being a musician who made and released songs all the way up until probably in the late 2000s.
Yeah. Quite the length of time.
Exactly. And so we get the little song.
We do. Yeah, so we get his Water Witch thing, and she's super mean and all that stuff, and then we get Steven's version, which is also another really great song.
It is a good song, and we get the same. We get like a little flashback. He's still kind of processing the events. He's singing about it because that's a good way to process things, I guess.
Yeah.
But suddenly,
it's got some good guitar
it
stuff.
It does.
And then there's the.
That was a good imitation of the noise.
Thank you.
Sounded like a cat. A pulp.
Don't you screw you.
I had to.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it did sound like a cat.
But yeah, there's some weird kind of sound coming, but Greg doesn't go because it's Jim stuff, and also pizza, which is fair.
But Greg doesn't want to get involved in Gem stuff, which he hasn't done for a while.
Yes.
Even though he has done and succeeded before, like in Laser Light Cannon and House Guest. Although House Guest is an odd one because Greg lies to Stephen about his broken leg.
He was the problem before becoming the solution.
It's not very Greggy, that one, but whatever.
Yeah, it was a moment of weakness as a father, and got past it.
The Gems can't really figure out how to stop what it turns out to be a whaling stone from activating.
Yeah.
Now these are an old sort of gem communication technology, presumably, because
Yeah.
Pearl mentions how there's been a lot more of them, and you can send signals through them,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd collected them all and put them somewhere, presumably.
Yes.
But they wouldn't normally make this kind of noise unless, for some reason, the signal isn't able to be processed by the stone itself.
Indeed. And they try a bunch of things to try and make us shut up. Stephen sticks his hand through it and then starts just making the noise himself, which is kind of fun.
If that actually worked and like Lapis's voice came out through Steven's mouth,
That'd be pretty strange.
that would be rather amusing.
And so then Garnet goes and stuffs a bunch of pillows around it and on it, and then just sits Stephen on top of it. But yeah, they're like, "What? Why is it doing this? It's been dormant since we found it. What's going on?"
Exactly. And it turns out Steven's daddy-o knows audio.
Yeah, and we get a mention of the rebellion again.
That's true, we do.
We haven't used them since the rebellion.
Yeah, they were used to communicate then, presumably.
Indeed.
But the gems seemingly don't have ears, and yet they still
Mm-hmm.
are hearing it, and it hurts. But I'm sure they still hear even without ears in their forms. I don't know how.
It's weird.
But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
we cut to
Gregor's.
Greg. The other gems are kind of they're not really
Mm-hmm.
comfortable with the idea of Greg solving their problems. And Garnet, well, it's not like she's like, oh yeah, it's fine. She's just like,
Mm-hmm.
as with Stephen in Warp Tour, she's like, well, it might make Greg feel better if we do give him a chance.
Yeah.
And whereas that approach didn't work in Warp Tour, it did work here.
It did.
So Greg pulls out a lot of old equipment.
He does.
Like a condenser microphone. And
Yeah, he pulls out a bunch of audio jargon and
it's jargon. I can't believe this.
I mean, I understand like most of what he's saying as well, but it's
Couldn't use more fuzz.
I agree, but it's not something that the everyday 8-year-old watching this show is going to understand.
Let's get some soft clipping.
Mm.
I mean, he it does sound like he pretty much knows what he's doing, though, which is good.
He does, for sure, which is
Puts
good.
it through.
But unfortunately, it does not work.
It doesn't work because the battery, the battery on the van overloads. But it does it's starting to sound good.
Mm-hmm.
It actually sounds like the way that the composers and sound designers on the show managed to make it sound great.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Because it starts to be all musical, and Greg's like, yes. And it's like, wait, but no, it's still not. That's not what it's supposed to be.
And it makes sense because gem communications in some way are music to some extent. Obviously, this was a video message.
It was.
But the way gem messages are sort of transcribed is through music. I remember like the Diamond Blast. That was not only was it a flash of light, but it was also the 4 diamond tones, the chords of, or I guess it would have been 3 because it was just 3 of them. But it's musical, Like the
Yeah.
last thing Nephrite hears before becoming corrupted was music.
Oh shoot. Yeah, that's
That's what it.
true.
That's what it was. And so we see the significance of why it sounds like music.
Mm.
But the van breaks.
The van breaks. Yeah, the battery did not have enough power.
And the gems kind of just like dismiss him,
Yeah, they do a bit. I
which
mean,
is rude.
yeah, Garnet is still garneting. Um,
Yeah, she
it's not
tries to.
necessarily trying to. She kind of tries to reassure Greg, but it comes off as dismissing.
Yeah.
Pearl and Greg still have stuff to work out, and Amethyst's. I mean, she's got to follow the others, but she's just kind of like, well, bye. Yeah, but yeah, Greg's pretty miffed that it didn't work.
Yeah. You can see Steven's sad that his dad is not in the best mood. It's
Indeed.
something that he's got a lot of empathy, but he doesn't like seeing others in bad situations, and that's where his whole thing comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And to vent his frustration, he nabs the melody and performs
yes,
his own acoustic rendition of Lapis Lazuli by
yeah, it's
Wailing
got the
Stone,
same melody. And he writes it all on the fly as well, which is
which is
very,
great. I mean,
very
yeah,
good.
they're both like he definitely was a talented musician if he had someone who was not Marty. But then again, Stephen wouldn't exist if that happens. So everything happens for a reason. And Stephen has the improv gene too, and so does Connie, for that matter. We find out later
That's
or
true.
earlier. I don't remember. Whenever they sing the jam song.
That's later.
That's much later, isn't it?
Sworn to the Sword.
Oh yes. Ah yes, episode 58.
Yeah.
And then they're like, maybe it's not even sound, you know? And then Stephen's like, wait.
Wait
What if
a
it's
minute.
this?
This is the first time where Steven shouts "Dad" right next to
Yeah.
his dad.
And I love the way Stephen points and he's like, it's oh my days this video.
But Greg starts off as like, what if it's I don't know, something else I'm not good at. He's doubting himself there,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
turns out it does work.
Mm-hmm. And he just runs and he's like, I just want to help.
Yes, he runs, and they're not there.
They're not
Turns out
there.
they're in the corner.
Yeah.
But his complaints are justified. They gave up on him so easily
Yeah.
when they haven't been known to give up, but for like
Yeah.
6,000 years.
Yeah.
They don't see him as someone who can really help. It's like how Yellow Diamond was like, I'm not interested in the thoughts of a peridot,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Sad.
Because
But it does
Peridot's
work.
amazing. So what you doing?
Peridot is cool.
I may be biased.
Yeah, I know she's your favorite character. I think she's cool. Not my favorite character.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I
very cool.
think that your favorite character is also very cool, so it's all good.
Yeah. I like Spinel as well. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Oh, Spinel's pretty neat.
So yeah, Garnet jumps the van engine so it can work again
Mhm.
since the battery was fried. With her hands, which we've seen her do before, I guess, with the Meat Beat Mania.
Yes. Yes.
It is still something weird.
How
But
she can do it? I
I don't
don't know, but she can. So.
But you can. An Amethyst has never started a car with a key before.
Yeah, that's funny.
Which I guess implies that she just sort of hotwires them all or
Wires
something.
them. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Or uses her own electricity.
Mm.
I don't know. But it actually becomes a message. And
Mm-hmm.
it's Lapis. And she looks horrified.
Yeah.
And she's saying that the rest of the gems, well, some more homeworld gems are on their way to Earth.
Yeah. Everything's super advanced now.
Yes, it's
There's
very
nobody
different.
anything on Earth can
Lapis
stand up to
obviously
it.
left during Era 1, and now
Yes.
it's Era 2, and everything is a lot more austerity, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, politics. Uh,
Yeah.
and she encourages them to surrender, as she has done
Yes.
a lot.
Lapis, it's gonna be a while before she fully comes round
Oof, a long, long
to
while.
being a crystal gem. But yeah, so the message ends.
Pearl and Amethyst are sort of freaking out,
Mm-hmm.
but Garnet kind of sees that this is an opportunity to make Greg feel better about himself.
Because even though things are now bad, it was still a victory because now they've got the message.
Exactly. And that was a real moment of maturity from Garnet, which
Yeah, it's really good.
sometimes, her detachedness from reality can hinder relationships with people, but sometimes it is good. And in this point, it is good.
It's good. Um, and then he's very, very happy that she thanked him. And Stephen's like, "My dad is the best.
Help, I
He's
can't
the
relate to my robot
robot
son.
son. I know the continuity mistake on television." And the gems are just kind of all looking at each other like, because they don't understand them because they're concerned. And even though it doesn't end on a super ominous note, even though it sort of kind of was previously, we don't get the star.
Speaking of continuity mistake, no, I'm just kidding. I don't
Mhm.
think there are that many in this.
I don't think so.
I get the feeling there aren't any,
Hmm. I mean,
but
I'm a
who knows?
person who does not get hung up on that kind of stuff anyway. So
It does not really matter to me unless it's like super important.
unless it's a big gold glaring thing, but yeah. And then it's the end of the episode. I also wonder if help I can't relate to my robot son, even though obviously Steven's not a robot. He's not a human.
Turns out Greg couldn't relate to his son.
And they there's definitely periods later. Where they
Bless you. Was that a
thank you.
sneeze?
It was
All right, I wasn't sure.
the wonders of being able to turn away from a dynamic microphone.
Ah,
Yeah. But yeah, I wonder if that's kind of like vague foreshadowing or just a joke because
that I get the feeling that is. I don't imagine they had thought of everything in the future at that point, but who
probably not.
knows?
But
There are certainly a lot of foreshadowings.
yeah, because I mean, even before Future, just the bit where you've got is it in season 3 maybe where Steven tries to grow, um, to seem as big as Connie.
Oh yeah,
I said that one, and then Greg and he's like, if you just need to talk to a human, you can always talk
yeah.
to me. And Steven's like,
Ooh,
yeah,
that's an episode.
it's another good one, but
It's good, but it's painful to watch that one.
it is.
But
Yeah,
these two are good. The ones that we just did.
they are good. They don't feature any Greg trauma, any Steven scarred for life.
No, I don't think so. You're right.
Just no Lars in general, which is fine.
Which is fine. No train
No
chat.
appearances of Train Chant, so you not need to edit the list.
Darn.
Quite a few
Unfortunate.
songs though.
There are a good few songs.
Yeah, we had Comet, Destiny, Lapis Lazuli, and Wailing Stone.
Yeah,
two in each of them, which is like a couple of the only episodes that are like that. So
it's nice.
it is good. They're all pretty good songs as well. So well, we will leave this here then
Sure.
with these 2 episodes. Next time we will maybe round out
Maybe.
the first season after like 11 episodes.
11 episodes for one season. That's not bad, to be honest.
Indeed. And with that, we will say goodbye. See you next
Goodbye.
time. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Cabincast. For more episodes, go to www.cabincast.podbean.com or use the Podbean app. You can now also find us on iTunes and Pocket Casts under Cabincast and on YouTube. The uploads here are quite behind. Finally, you can find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Cabincast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.